You should be ashamed of yourself right now. I'm disappointed in you. Your mom is disappointed in you. I'm talking to the Alvin Kamara doubter right now. People have the audacity to come in and act like I'm the one that has something to prove. We call these people fantasy football Karens, but you, my friend, even though I appreciate you, even though I'm glad you're here, why are you doubting Alvin Kamara in your top 3 because of what? Taysom Hill? Is it Winston? Are you that worried about a Drew Brees that already dropped off last year, but you're still hung up on the fact that Alvin Kamara only gets you 80 plus receptions a season no matter what you throw at him? We're talking Alvin Kamara and trying to talk some sense into you Alvin Kamara doubters.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty! Take a lap. Look, I get that Alvin Kamara concerns people a little more in 2021 than he did coming out of 2020. Drew Brees is gone. You don't know what to make of the quarterback situation. Is it Winston? Is it Taysom Hill? I think most people are very concerned about Taysom Hill being the starting quarterback and what that means for Kamara in the run game. What drives me nuts more than anything is when somebody comes into the chat and says, hey, Smitty, why did you take Kamara at number 4 in the Throne League? The Fantasy Football Throne is a league I created on Instagram where 12 experts come together and we go to battle, we go to war with the teams that you draft for us. We took Kamara at 1.4.
Hey, Smitty, Kamara?
Smitty, Kamara's gonna
bust in 2021. Don't you know that?
People have the audacity to come in and act like I'm the one that has something to prove, that my stance is the one that's off base, that it's as if the person bringing all the Alvin Kamara doubt isn't walking into a world, a microcosm of normalcy, and it's as if they aren't dropping the bold prediction. Alvin Kamara has played 4 NFL seasons, 81 receptions, 81 receptions, 81 receptions, 83 receptions. The man doesn't miss when it comes to targeting 80 plus receptions at the running back position, which is phenomenal. And you take into account that everyone complained about him vanishing last year when he broke his back-to-back 81 reception season mark. He brought 3 to the table in 2021. And everyone's so worried about Taysom Hill. Will he vulture? Can he even throw the football? No one even considers that Taysom Hill can get better. Winston could start. If Winston starts and does well, he'll stay in, and there's no problem at all. This would be an irrelevant conversation. Everybody's happy. Kamara's doing great. But if Winston fails, we have a backup plan, people. Not to mention, I think Taysom Hill will probably have a better shot at starting week 1 than a lot of people give him credit for. Taysom Hill's the one they turned to when Brees went down. The game Brees went down, Hill wasn't even eligible to be the quarterback, which is why Winston came in to finish that game. But then who did they turn to for the remainder of Drew Brees being out? Taysom Hill. Who did fairly well commanding that offense when they didn't even prepare as a quarterback all year long? Taysom Hill. Who had 3 TDs in 4 games in weeks 11 through 14 when Taysom Hill was the starting quarterback? Alvin Kamara. Yes, his PPR workload was down with Taysom Hill under center in weeks 11 through 14, but Taysom Hill didn't know the playbook, not from the perspective of the quarterback. And I know Bill from accounting is about to type right now in the comments,
But Smitty,
how could he not know the plays? Taysom Hill has been there forever. Does the water boy know how to unravel the cord for the headset of the coach as he's walking down the field just because he's been there delivering water to Mike Thomas and everybody on roster? Does that make him an expert in unraveling that cord and draping it across the field so that the coach has enough slack to move down the field? No, the answer is no, Bill. Just because you're on roster doesn't mean you know all the plays from the quarterback position. This man played tight end, running back, wide receiver. This man came in and ran certain packages that he needed to know. Packages that were geared toward him running the football. Taysom Hill didn't have time to prepare for being a quarterback at all last offseason or leading up to when the injury happened. Taysom Hill was in a makeshift offense that was catering around his skill set as they put gum, glue, and rubber bands all over this offense trying to keep it afloat until Drew Brees returned. No, Taysom Hill
This offseason,
is doing everything he can to learn the quarterback position and only the quarterback position. They're also paying him $140 million, which people don't talk about. And I know Bill from accounting is about to type right now.
Smitty, you aren't looking at the details. That is a totally voidable contract at every turn.
Astute observation, Bill from accounting, but that doesn't matter. Yes, they built protections into the contract to protect the New Orleans Saints. Hey, if he doesn't do well, we could cut ties every single year without any impact to us. It is a voidable deal at each year in the contract, but it's still a $140 million deal. If he plays well, he'll get paid the next year. If he plays well, he'll get paid the next year. Essentially, he could earn $140 million on this contract. So I don't want to hear he's not a starter. The contract isn't real. Yeah, they just gave him a $140 million deal, a pretend deal, so they could get him to stay for one more year. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Bill. Alvin Kamara will be fine under the command of either Winston or Taysom Hill. And the good news is that you have two quarterbacks here. If one falters, if one doesn't work out, you have a safety net with the other one. This is actually an ideal situation for Alvin Kamara owners because you have security in numbers. Alvin Kamara had 932 on the ground in 2021. He had 16 rushing touchdowns. I know what you're going to say, Smitty. You got to take out that week 16 outing where he had 155 and 6 TDs. It's an outlier. You can't include it. You can't take out a player's stats. You can't say when. You can't decide when you want to remove a player's numbers because they don't jive with what you think they should have done. That 6 TDs he earned. If we're going to take away touchdowns and yards from this play or that run or that game, you got to do it for everybody. That's not a game you're allowed to play in the stat world. 932, 5 yards a carry, 16 rushing touchdowns, 107 targets, 83 receptions, 756, 100-yard receiving game, 5 TDs receiving. Do you realize he had 21 total touchdowns in 2020? 21 total touchdowns on 15 games. Does anybody even remember that? 1688 total yards. Granted, weeks 11 through 14. Week 11, he had 0 receptions. In week 12, 1. In week 13, 2. But in week 14, 7. A game Taysom Hill played, 10 targets. Probably the most important stat here, something that is a harbinger for things to come in 2021. Look at Alvin Kamara's last 6 played games. Week 16, week 18, week 19. 22 carries, 23 carries, 18 carries, 155, 99, and 85. 7 TDs in those 3 games. I know 6 TDs you can't count on. It's an outlier. I get it. You can't accept that. If you're an Alvin Kamara doubter, you're just removing those 6 TDs. I can't do anything about it. That's how you process something like this. And that's fine. And you call yourself an accountant, Bill. The important thing here is that life without Drew Brees may have been telegraphed right here. Alvin Kamara running over 20 times a game in week 16, 18, and 19 might be telling as to what they want to do with him in 2021. Maybe he won't get 20 carries a game, but instead of 9, 8, 11, maybe he's 15, 16, 17, 18 carries a game moving forward, which will account for any kind of displacement of his PPR work and balance out his total stat line at the end of the game. I don't even know that he'll get less than 81 receptions in 2021 under the command of a full-time Taysom Hill. Again, we have a game here where he had 7 receptions. I'm not that worried about Alvin Kamara reaching, 70, 75 receptions in a worst-case scenario, because what he may lose in receptions, he will get back in volume on the ground, proven by week 16, 18, and 19. Alvin Kamara is the number 2 overall player heading into 2021 in my book. I've got Christian McCaffrey 1 locked and loaded across all formats. Dynasty redraft. We need to have a yearly conversation readdressing where we have Kamara, where we have CMC moving forward, because after this year, Kamara will have played 5 years. McCaffrey will have played 5 years, and running backs have a 4 to 5 year shelf life, sometimes 6, maybe 7. But when you're getting a volume that makes you a number 1 or number 2 overall pick in fantasy football, that 4 to 6 year shelf life is a little bit more accurate and easy to predict because the volume's overwhelming. Alvin Kamara is my number 2 overall. McCaffrey, Kamara. I like Cook. You can cuff Mattison to Cook, but you can also cuff Lat Murray to Kamara. You can cuff Chuba Hubbard potentially to CMC. All 3 of them have good handcuff situations, and Zeke Elliott has Tony Pollard. The super handcuffs are real. The super handcuffs are protective. They're not just backing up a player like, oh, I draft every backup in the world. That's Smitty. Smitty's a backup running back hoarder. No, it's about a specific running back that can be a 6 to 10 overall player at the running back position if the starter goes down. That's Pollard. That's Mattison. That's potentially Lat Murray still, although he's getting older, but he feels like a must own for all Kamara owners. And Chuba Hubbard should be that guy, but we need to see more as the guy enters his first year in the NFL. But if he gets unleashed and trusted, Chuba Hubbard's got a bright future potentially, because how many years does Christian McCaffrey have left at the volume he's getting? At the percentage of work he's getting for his offense is an overwhelming percentage that he's getting in terms of his team and the amount of work he's involved in. Give me Christian McCaffrey, give me Alvin Kamara, give me Dalvin Cook as my top 3 overall in 2021. Catch all my content at Smitty1.com. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday here on the Fantasy Football Show on the YouTube channel. We are live from 5 to 7 p.m. every single Tuesday and Thursday. And get my text message service at HeySmitty.com. I'll text you. You and I can work on trade offers, whatever you want. Just get it at HeySmitty.com.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty.